What's up, gangsters? It is Thursday, August the 16th, and it's been a while. I'm sure for some of you that's a relief. But I am back from my month-long stem cell adventure in Panama and trying to get back into the swing of things. And I've been pretty out of it for the last 3 or 4 days, and pretty much still am, so this may be completely incoherent, but I thought that a quick little sort of product review video of something that I got into in the last couple of days would be sort of a good way to ease back into things. So, anyway, if you follow any of my nonsense, you may know that one of the things that I finished up right before I went to Panama was the Mitchell 2.0, the project that I did on commission for a client in California. So I finished it. Things turned out pretty well after, well, of course, there was the great nose weight debacle. But otherwise, things turned out pretty well. I boxed the thing up, and I made some decisions that ultimately would prove to be fatal. Because the thing arrived in California in about 6 pieces. The only good news part of that was that most of the 6 pieces were little things like one of the Bombay doors, the tail glass, but it had some very serious damage thanks to UPS. The entire left wing was sheared completely off at the fuselage, and the nose wheel was broken off about halfway down the fork. So anyway, yeah, that's been a major debacle. I'm in a fight with UPS. I've of course had it insured for a couple $1,000, and I'm in a fight with UPS over getting that claim taken care of, and we'll see how that goes. That'll be the subject of a whole other video. But anyway, as far as my decisions on packing it go, I think I made good decisions. I ended up putting it in a plastic storage container, and I built a structure around it that was made out of foam rubber. So as far as I could tell, it was pretty well isolated. I didn't do the cardboard box within a cardboard box because getting cardboard boxes that large, I mean, the thing is 13 by 17. Anyway, getting cardboard boxes that large just wasn't going to be easy, and I really thought that the rigid plastic shipping container would be even better. But I had no idea how hard UPS was going to squash the thing. You can actually see stress marks in the plastic lid, which was held on with half a dozen zip ties around the perimeter of it from where they squished it. And the lid didn't come off. The damage that resulted was not an issue of the lid coming off. They just flat smashed the thing, and it just never occurred to me that it would be abused that badly. So, lesson learned. Anyway, I know, I'm going to hear all the comments that I've already heard after I posted the photographs of it on Facebook about how I should have packed it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, that's all said and done, and now I have to deal with fixing it because I do have it back and I have to repair it. And so the point to all this is that this is a little product review about a fixture that I bought that I think is going to help me do that, because I think I'm going to have to be able to hold the fuselage and the wing that's still on there very rigidly, and also be able to very accurately position the wing that got broken off in order to get it back on there properly. So, without further lip flapping or preamble, let me show you what I bought to hopefully help me do that. Okay, so here we go. This is the thing that I bought. This is the JH Models number 4801A, supposed to be for 1/48 scale stuff. I guess you call it, let's see, I've still got the packaging here. This is he calls it the, wooden stand kit for building, painting, and transporting model airplanes. This is the thing that came off the top of the packaging. And it'll give you a better look at what it looks like without something on it. You can see that I'm giving it a trial run with my Phantom because I thought I was going to do some things to the Phantom, which I decided not to, and I'll also talk about that. Anyway, that's the thing. I got it from UMM, which has all kinds of cool products, and shut up compressor. Anyway, it was like 26 bucks. He had it on sale. It's normally like 40, I think. Anyway, I thought it was pretty good value. The thing is laser cut out of this real thin, nice plywood. You can see this is one of the frets, I guess you'd call it. And all the pieces pop out very easily. And then you glue them together, or some of them together, according to this instruction sheet right here. You can see, oops, if I'd get it right side up and get the correct side. Anyway, so it's got a series of pieces that you glue together. It's got some nuts that are included that you sandwich in between, so that you create the standoffs here, as well as the feet. That's this thing right here that go on the bottom. And then it's got a cross brace structure on the bottom of it that's intended to stiffen it, which kind of does. I mean, it doesn't exactly want to sit perfectly on all fours, but it's not bad. And then I thought this was pretty cool. So that the top edges of these supports don't scuff your model, he includes a rubber band that you cut into strips and glue onto the edges of the supports that you can see right there. So you get a little bit of padding, and it also provides a little bit of grip so that the thing doesn't slide around too much. He also gives you little felt pads for the bottom of the feet. You can see how the thing is designed. I really, I think this thing, sorry, I keep bumping into the camera. I really think that overall this thing is really thoughtfully engineered and well made. It was clearly designed to be made out of laser cut wood, and it glues together in a pretty straightforward fashion, and everything fits really well. The slots and tabs that are cut so that the structure can be assembled in pretty much only one way, I thought was really good. I mean, I liked it. I really thought it was well engineered. I mean, there might have been a couple of things that I would have done differently, but overall, it's well thought out and goes together well. As you can see, the notches on the sides of the supports are there so that you can attach rubber bands to hold the thing in place, and he even includes the rubber bands, and it's on there pretty solidly. I mean, I'm not going to shake it around, but if you had rubber bands on all four support points, it'd be on there pretty well. So I like it. I had the Phantom flipped upside down initially because of what I thought I was going to do to it, and it worked well. You can see that the fuselage supports have notches in them so that they clear, whatever gizmos like those antennas and things are sticking out. And then the wing supports kind of have a curved top edge to cradle your airfoils. So, and you can see that it has this scale so that you can get everything adjusted equally, and you can see how all that takes place. I mean, honestly, the only thing that I might have done differently is use some different types of hardware, like wing nuts, so that they were a little bit easier to loosen and tighten, and you didn't have to get out a screwdriver. But overall, I like this thing. I'm not going to use it for shipping, but I can see how you might make that choice. I'm going to be keeping this thing around for future projects because it gives a very firm and confidence-inspiring way to hang on to your model. And there's definitely situations where that's nice. To be able to, spin it around and flip it over and do whatever you need to do without actually touching the thing. So, very cool, good product. Definitely would recommend it if you think you need some type of an assembly jig. Now, very quickly, why did I buy it? Well, so when I posted the Phantom on SMCG, there was immediately some outrage about the condition of the pylons. And they are terrible. There's no doubt about that. This entire Hasegawa kit is, as I understand it, maybe 30 years old. And the pylons are terrible. They just don't have any detail to speak of. And they have raised panel lines instead of recessed like the rest of the kit. And I kind of phoned it in on them. I didn't really do much in the way of weathering and painting, so it just didn't look good, and I got rightfully called on that. Anyway, somebody suggested, or I started asking, if there were resin replacements, because I figured, hey, as popular as Phantoms are, and as much other crap as you can get for Phantoms in resin, there surely somebody made some really sweet pylons. And the answer is, yeah, not so much. The ones that I found are made by True Details, and I got them from Squadron. And these things are apparently like 30 years old. And you can get both Navy and Air Force, because they are different. And they come with a nice little instruction sheet that's pretty good. But what bummed me out, and why I ultimately, after I got them and took a close look at them, decided not to do this, was because they just weren't that great. Let's zoom in and take a really close look, and hopefully you can see what I mean. Here's what you got. Okay, so this is one of the pylons that I would have had to use. And you can see that it has recessed panel lines, but they're not super deep. I felt like I would have had to scribe them to really make them look right to match the rest of the thing. There is some nice detail you can see there. There's pretty decent detail on the bottom of the bottom face of the pylon, which there's none on the bottom face of the ones in the kit. So that's good. But it's not like super crisp or amazing, especially when you get to these little gizmos that go on the back of the backs of those pylons. These pieces go on the sides back here, and you can see that detail is okay, but it's not really, I mean, it's not up to like Aries standard for sure. You can see it's just not super well molded, and you can see that the originals were made by hand, which I don't have any problem with, but not very consistent. Like that grading pattern is different on the other one. They don't really match. I mean, that's okay. They're not a big deal. The Sidewinder rail was even more disappointing because again, they're just not much there. I mean, but basically the conclusion I came to was that if you're in the middle of building your Phantom and you want to add better pylons, these are worth it. Absolutely do it. In my case, having to remove the ones that were already on there, do some surgery, and paint and weather and fit these resin ones, I just decided that the result was way too marginal. I mean, I felt like it might have been 10% better, and it just was not worth all of the hassle. Because not only is the detail on these things not that great, but there are no locating pins, obviously, because you got the pour block up here. There's supposed to be 2 pins coming off the top of this thing that should mate with the pinholes in the wing. And this thing is thicker in that direction than the stock one. And so you either have to remove a couple of, well, 4 chunks of material that's on the bottom of the wing. They're the anti-sway braces. You either have to remove those and install the ones from this thing, which that's these pieces right here that I can't dig out. Anyway, yeah, there. These are the anti-sway braces. They go on either side of the pylon, and you can kind of see here where they talk about removing them in the instructions, removing the ones that are molded in. Because the slot in between them is just not wide enough for the resin part. And I'm also not convinced that the curvature of this surface is correct. I don't know. It may be. I didn't get that far enough to find out because I bailed before I ended up doing any of that. But I almost felt like these might not have even been made for the Hasegawa 48th Phantom in the first place. That they were just kind of close. I don't know. Anyway, for $12, it was worth taking a look at them. And again, if you're doing this kit and you're in the middle of it and you want better pylons, yeah, I think these things would be worth it, especially if you did a little bit of work on them. But for me, taking the stock ones off to install the new ones, I felt like was pretty marginal, and I decided not to do it. So anyway, there's kind of a 2-for-1 review of the stand that I bought for something else. Thought that I might use it as a thing to install the pylons, and the pylons that I ended up not using. There you go. Okay, so there you go. A little bit in the further adventures of Rube Goldberg. Hopefully this is another thing that you guys will find useful, and this is a product that maybe you'll be able to use. Hopefully not in as dire of a circumstance as I find myself in. But anyway, there it is. And as always, appreciate you watching. Much love.